With mercy of Mawla, we have gathered here to continue our study of Ginan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ali Allah, Madad Farma. Mushkil Kusha, Meherban Mawla, Madad Farma. So today is our second session. Last week we had talked about the introduction of this journey, this series we will undertake, and we had started talking about the first verse of Sata Shabad Hai Guru Hamara. Brief review that we talked about the word, the Isme Azam, and how allegorically it has been used in different examples for us to realize the importance of Isme Azam, that supreme name. We talked about it being a seed. If we were to sow the seed in the earth, in the soil, and then nurture it, take care of it, then only we'll see a plant and eventually a very strong tree. We talked about the example of having a child, which is also given to us by Imam too. We also talked about it being a universe in itself. In this word, we talked about that this word is being a Nur, Imam himself. So there are so many ways we had discussed about Isme Azam. If we were to say, are we done discussing it? I would say no, we just began. Isme Azam is such a miraculous name of Imam that until a Mu'min Salik from the stages of Ilmul Yaqeen, Ainul Yaqeen to reaches at Haqqul Yaqeen, until then, the true understanding of this name, the true recognition of this name is not possible. But Alhamdulillah, the first stage is Ilmul Yaqeen. Through knowledge journey, we can learn about this name and the personality hidden, because this name is a living name. The Nur is encompassed within this name. Imam himself comes to us through this name, within this name. But for us, in the beginning, it is just a word, just like any worldly word, any name of anybody. But this word is not an ordinary word. That's why we say it as a supreme name, Bada Kaam, Kare Buzrug. All these powerful terms being attached to this word because there is power in this word, and that's what we have to recognize by walking on the journey of knowledge. Without knowledge, how do we know about this word? So Alhamdulillah, we are walking on that path. We did discuss about Quranic verse, chapter 55, verse 29, in which we had said that it is Mawla's Shan, that Mawla comes every day in new Shan. Kulla yawmin huwa fi Shan. Today, his Shan is such that his name is generous, he is Kareem. Yesterday he was King, Sultan. Day before he was Hussein, and before that he was Ali. So his Shan, his manifestation, his Sarup changes every day. And we look forward to recognition of every manifestation of him. Interestingly, after that session, I did receive few questions, so we'll cover that first and then we'll continue our journey. Otherwise, it will be difficult to go to the next step. Some friends asked that, should I take Isme Azam or not? Because we had some discussion after the class, and from that they were inspired to ask this question, that we are in the same boat, should we take Isme Azam or not? So this humble Nachi's answer would be, I would encourage you to do take Isme Azam. You will ask why. And the answer is that if we do not have a seed, what will we sow? If we say that this Isme Azam is a miracle, if we don't have the beginning of it in the form of the word, how will we witness the miracle? If we say that it is the key, Isme Azam is the key. If we do not have the key, how would we open the door? How would we unlock the door? So yes, we do have to have it is encouraged to have the Isme Azam. Isme Azam was not given openly to Mominin before Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah. It was very difficult to get Isme Azam. But Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, when he sat on the Gadi and he announced it, that this is the Akhir Zamana, this is the end time. And what he did, he openly gave Isme Azam to Jamaat. We do know, we have heard that even 13 years old girls did get Isme Azam because Imam just got to that girl, come sit here, let me give you Isme Azam. That's how Imam gave Isme Azam to Jamaat. And Maula knows what Maula does, right? Maula's hikmat, we may not realize, we may not understand, but he knows what he's doing. And Hasim, when we see him, he is following on the footsteps of his grandfather, and Imam, the way he gave Isme Azam to thousands and thousands and thousands of people in one day. So Imam has opened this bakshis to anyone and everyone. So my answer, we do need to take advantage of this bakshis and take it. Now, if someone says, the counter question would be, what do I do if I don't have Isme Azam today? So I would say, no, you do have Isme Azam. And let me tell you how. This is the Farman of Hazri Imam, Chicago, USA, 16th April 2008. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Keep a tasbih with you and simply call on the tasbih for 10 seconds, for 5 seconds, 30 seconds. Ya Allah, Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad. So that your thoughts, your soul for that short time are looking at matters which are not material, because it will bring you happiness. I am certain of that. What is the objective of Isme Azam? Why do we do Nurani time ibadat? Because we want to recognize the batin. We want to know what is in batin. And it is Imam's mercy that through Isme Azam, we are able to do that. When Imam gave this farman openly to the Jamaat, actually Imam is encouraging us to become serious, take these names and start doing ibadat. Start doing bandagi. Now, during the day, one can do the zikr, one can do the ibadat, or be strong and offer that qurbani, offer that riyazat, and wake up early in the morning and start practicing, because one has to start practice to know if we are able to do it or not, right? So those who feel that they are not ready, but now they do feel they are ready, or they don't have the Isme Azam, start today. This is how we start. Imam's farman is there for us to start reciting these names, anyone which we like. Another farman, Imam says, take the names of prophets, take the names of imams. Any name you love, you like, take that name and start doing the ibadat or bandagi. Now, when we say ibadat or bandagi, the word ibadat, Imam has explained to us that the word ibadat is from abd, and abd means gulam. Those who are wanting to do ibadat, actually they are the gulaman, slaves of Imam. Tell me who will deny that they are not slaves of Imam? We are very happily saying that, Ya Mawla, we are your servant, we are your gulam. And the task of the gulam is to do ibadat. So why to delay in fulfilling our task, which is Farman Bardari? And Farman Bardari is to call upon the name of Ya Allah, Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad. Why? So all the pressures of material life, material busyness, worldly things, we are too busy, we don't have time, we are fearful that we will be able to do ibadat or not. All that doubts, fears, pressures of the worldly life will go away. Why? Because we will be able to focus what matters the most. Now, if we fear that, am I capable of keeping this promise to Imam? Am I capable of keeping this commitment? And I understand that question and I acknowledge it, but I ask myself, not you all, but myself. And I ask myself, do I go to work? Do I make it on time when I'm expected to make it at work? Am I able to keep my worldly commitments? That should be my balance. तराजू होना चाहिए ना वजन करने के लिए. अगर दुनिया के काम वक्त पे कर सकते हैं, that means we do have the capability to do the same way, apply the same strength, same abilities to our spiritual responsibilities. And I know I'm very lazy, so I need to be very strict with my own self, because I do know my nafs is so powerful, it overpowers me. So I have to really fight with my nafs. You all are mu'minins. So individually, we have to talk to ourselves. How lazy we are. Are we making excuses? If we are able to make and keep our commitment in our worldly life, can we do the same in our spiritual life? Is that important to us? If we say we are doing the ibadat, we are Maula's mu'mineen, then where is our strength in fulfilling that promise? So again, this is humbly my own check for my own self. Now, there is another aspect when somebody says, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I don't think I'm worthy for such a elevated or sacred task of getting this supreme name. And to these friends, I would say, Qurban on your ajizi, Qurban on your humility. It is one of the sign of Mu'mineen who say, no, I'm not worthy of this. Because Mu'mineen always keep them low, below, to stay humble. And if that is the case, so I would say it is good in habit. We have to be humble. But remember that it is Maula's duashes that he gives to us that we see the light. And remember, when we do it with ajizi, then he makes it possible for us. He gives us the strength. So I don't trust me. I am very lazy. I trust in him. That should be the dialogue in ourselves. Now, when we talk of humility, we always have to recall the story of Adam. Now, Adam, we all know he was a mustajib. He was a very simple man, very pious, pure, humble mu'min, right? When Imam gave him Isma Azam, he did such an honest ibadat, not very educated, very simple, no, big titles, no suited booted guy, very simple moment. But when he got these blessings, he did such an honest ibadat that he elevated himself to the very high level. And Allah said, oh, I choose you to be my Khalifa. I will make you my Khalifa. And he said, you'll be Adam. And all the angels got surprised and they said, no, how can he be? How can he be? But Azazel, despite of Allah explaining to all the angels that what I know, you know not. All the angels prostrated because they were obedient. They were farman bardar, except Azazel. Azazel said, no, I am superior than him. I am more than him. I have become, I am from fire. I am made from fire, whereas Adam is made from soil. How can I bow down to him? I will accept you, O my Lord, but I will not accept Adam. So what happened to him? He was thrown out of the court. So always remember that when we take upon this task, humility is extremely important. And do we want to see how Imam bestows mercy on those who are humble, who want to truly, be doing just ibadat, farman bardari of Imam. Let's see what Maula says. Maula says in this farman, which is from India, February 2nd, 1989, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You are seeking, and you are seeking in humility. And it is not because you sit in bandagi that automatically you will find that light or that you will be touched by that light. Therefore, the first point is, do not sit in bandagi and have in your heart the attitude, because I'm sitting in bandagi, I must be successful. It is my right to be successful. There is no right. So you sit in humility, you sit in search, and you set aside material matters of everyday life. So that is the first point. So Imam very clearly is telling us that if we are seeking, if we are sincere in our intention, if we have the attitude of doing ibadat, meaning we are gulam, we have no right, just like what Adam did. When we do that, Imam says that you will be blessed. Our job is to just do it. Now, another friend asks that, okay, I accept what we are learning, but how do I stay consistent? I get motivated, I do for a few days, and then again, I fall back. So, yes, we have talked about it. It's a dars-e-mukarrar. One way to stay consistent, remember, it requires practice. Practice makes man perfect. One way, which is very powerful, is love of Imam. When we have love of Imam, when we do selfless ibadat, do not expect anything in return. There is no contract, there is no exchange, just purity with clean heart, just giving, no expectations. Then we will see the miracles of Imam, because that's what a moment, a true moment is required to do, selfless, just giving. How do we get to that level of love where we become such that we are pure and our heart is clean, we have no ill thoughts, and we keep ourselves always clean? It is possible through true knowledge. It is only possible through true knowledge. When we learn about our Imam, when we learn about his sifat, his attributions, his majizat, then only we start falling in love with him, so much so with knowledge. Remember, we love Mawla, but within love, in the concept of love, there are darajat too. When we know about him, when we recognize him, we more fall in love with him. And it continues to grow and increase in our being. For example, when we do this tasbih, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, we say it in dua too. We never knew that there is difference in these two attributions of Allah. Rahman, Rahim means the same thing. There is no difference in the meaning. But when we go into deep in the ta'wil of these names, we learn that Rahman is for whole humans, whole humanity. But for Jamaati members, those who he calls my beloved spiritual children, for them, there is a special attributive name, and that is Rahim. So when we see Imam as Imamun Nas, the attribution is of Rahman. But when we say Imamul Muttaqeen, then his attribution which applies is Rahim. So how beautiful it is that Imam, those who follow the Imam, being Ismailis, Imam has dedicated one whole attribution for them, one complete attribution of mercy for them. He is Rahim for the Jamaat and Rahman for the whole humanity, meaning that even in his mercy, there are darajat. And that knowledge can only be learned through knowledge. We have to learn that, right? Otherwise, how would we know? We knew these two words has the same meaning. There was no difference for us until we started learning. So this is how, when we continue to learn and grow, then we realize that how is it that what we used to think is incomplete learning. There is much more to learn about Imam, our tariqa, batni, tariqa, the ruhaniyat which we all seek, there is much more to learn about it. Then there was another question. Someone said again that what if my Isma Azam doesn't work? So humbly again, let us find the answer to that question in Maula's Farman. And Maula says in Mumbai, January 11th, 1914, and this is the Gujarati Farman. In this Farman, Maula says that I give you, when you take Isma Azam, when you come forward and volunteer to do this khidmat, this ibadat of Nurani time, I give you a jewelry, very valuable jewelry to you. તમે આ કામ કર્યું છે તે કામ જવાહરાત જેવું છે. તે છતાં અગર તમે ફાયદો ન જોયો હોય તો કામની કસૂર નથી, તમારી પોતાની કસૂર છે. Imam says, I give you a very valuable jewel. When I give you this Isma Azam, it's a very powerful name, I give it to you. And when you say it doesn't work, there is no fault or flaw or deficiency in the name of the Imam. It is our fault. Have we ever tried to find faults in us? So I agree in last time when we had discussion that how do we raise these kind of questions? Have we ever tried to find answers by seeking knowledge? If not, today is the beginning. So when we studied this verse, chapter 17, verse 72, and we had discussed that whoever has been blind in this world, they will be blind in hereafter. So blind in this world, different ta'wil today I would like to share. Blind in this world actually means not having ilmul yaqeen, not having the knowledge is blind in this world. So what will happen to those who are blind in this world? Allah says they'll be blind in the hereafter. Hereafter meaning Qiyamah. They'll be blind in Qiyamah too. Meaning they will never be able to have batni level of certainty. They will never be able to open up their batin. Why? Because they have not climbed the first step. So first step is knowledge. Through knowledge, one can get the next level of seeing the batin within their own being. And surely those who have not started here, they are really very far away from the right way. So the first step is to learn the knowledge. Now, are we not surprised when we listen to these lectures, the questions which we were asking about our Isma Azam, answers are there in Farman and Quran already. Did we take an effort to study that? If we have done, Mubarakbad. If we have not done, welcome. So there is never too late. Shukr Maula, whenever we start, we start. Now, one of the friends I was discussing, and they were very humble and saying that, okay, I have been lacking knowledge, but can you tell me why have I not seen Nu? What am I doing wrong? And I said, I will reply to you in class, and the answer is really given to us by Imam. And this is Farman from Rangoon, February 11th, 1914. તમે તમારા આમાલ સુધારવા જોઈએ. આમાલ સુધારશો નહીં તો કામ નહીં આવે. This is Betul Khayal Farman. Imam says, if you have not purified your deeds, you will not be able to see the light. You will not be able to move forward. And there are so many faramins on it. I just picked which was the smallest, so we can, see in here. And in Hazri Imam's word, if you want to look at how Hazri Imam is teaching the same thing to us, Hazri Imam is very clearly saying, this is Los Angeles, USA, April 15, 2008, Farman. And Mullah is very clearly saying here that you should remain loyal to our traditional ethical standards. The ethics of generosity, the ethics of kindness, the ethics of sincerity, the ethics of truthfulness, the ethics of assisting others when assistance is required, not only within the Jamaat, but outside the Jamaat also. These are principles which have been ours for many, many centuries, and whatever pressures you may have from modern society, remain true to the ethical principles of our faith. So language is different, wordings are different, meaning is same. That our ethics has to be meeting the standards of our tariqah. If we are not ethical, if we are not pure in our amal, definitely we will have difficulty to move forward. So next question was, if one has worked hard, one has now worked hard, understood things, and become pious and righteous, even then, what is missing? What is the next step? Why there is missing? And then we have this farman, Imam, again in Rangoon, February 11th, 1914, Imam is giving us answer. This is all Baitul Khayal Faramins, okay? So Maula is saying here, જેણે અમુએ શબ્દ અથવા નક્ષ આપ્યો છે તે પગથિયા માફક કામ ના કરે અને ગફલત કરે તો નૂર જોઈ નહીં શકે. If you want to see the noor, there are darjat, there are pagathya, there are ladders, there are steps which we do need to climb. If we do not climb those steps, we do not take the riyazat of learning and growing and doing what is required from us to do, we will not be able to see the light. No matter how much we practice, if it is incomplete practice, then there will be difficulty to see the results. And then there was a question, whenever we talk like that, right, when we ask questions like that and continue to say that I don't see the noor, I am doing everything, because we do hear that kind of communication among friends, that I'm doing everything, whatever you're telling me, believe me, I'm doing everything. Even then I don't see the light. Then I say that, Ya Mola, we seek your forgiveness. Sata shabad hai guru hamara, taaku lakhe na yo sansara. When we say this verse and we do not see the light and we think that we are fulfilling all the conditions and criteria, then we are entering into the zone of being complainers, complaining to Imam, and becoming na-shukr guzar. When we continue to ask same questions like that, continue to verbalize this, then we are becoming na-shukr guzar. When Maula says it is not our right, then it is not our right. What is our duty? To do, not ask questions. And we continue to hear these questions. I say, Ya Maula, we seek your forgiveness. We know not what we do. So our Peer has taught us what to say when we realize our status, our condition of our soul. When we continue to do that, stay in na-shukr guzari, listen to na-shukr guzari or become na-shukr guzar, then I love to say this verse which our Peer has taught us. Eji bhali batao yasha buri tajao, har dui haat tamare yasha, tere taraf ko karam hamesha, paap dosh hamera. Truly we are sinful. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. We are the sinful. We are doing all this, sinning because we don't have knowledge or incomplete knowledge. So we continue to sin and we don't even realize. We continue to complain and become na-shukr guzar. And we do know we don't want to become na-shukr guzar. But we don't realize how we become na-shukr guzar. So help me do the good, Maula, avoid evil. Both of these are entirely in your power. O Lord, mercy comes always from you, and the sins and errors are all mine, Maula. Please forgive me. Now, this was another beautiful question friend asked yesterday also, that there is a contradiction somehow, or probably incomplete understanding. And the contradiction is such that Maulana Hazim Imam says, it is not your right. Do not be greedy when you sit in ibadat. Okay? Do not be greedy. Do not be, asking for it as your right. But Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says then you can get this light in 40 days. I said 40 days. I did everything. Mullah says you can get this light in 3 days. I don't understand. It sounds like that there is contradiction. In reality, there is no contradiction. Again, it is humbly incomplete understanding of the concept. Imam is same Nur, Jama changes, the guidance is same. What Mawla is saying here, that we need to realize there are very many things, very many concepts which are there behind these farmans, right? Number one is encouraging us that we should do ibadat. We should not be fearful. We should not think that we are not worthy. We have to trust in Imam's duashes, and we have to become a warrior and do ibadat. Because it is through ibadat that we will be able to get to his recognition of his nur. So we do need to do ibadat. And then when we sit in ibadat with an expectations, what happens? It can lead us to become disappointed. So that is why it is important that we sit in humility and have no expectations. So there will be no disappointment, there will be no discouragement. Remember Imam's mercy. Our peers have taught us that Maro Sami to evo je koi no rakhe bhar, ek var Sami ne ali, Sami ali so var. Our Mawla is such generous Mawla that he does not keep anybody's burden. If we do one good deed, he will return to us 100 times. We also say ek ka sawa lakh, right? We all know that. So do we think that when we do ibadat with sincerity, he is not counting it, he is not seeing it, he is not going to reward us? No, he is testing us too. He sees that are we capable of keeping. He tests us in the sense that we have become capable, strong enough to be able to become worthy of that light. And when we get that light, we are able to keep meeting the expectations of that light. Because when one gets light, that moment has to be quiet too. What if we will become proud? Oh, I saw the light. Do we not hear sometimes people say that, oh, I've seen the light? And if one says that, then what does it mean? Did we follow the rules? When you see the light, we are not supposed to talk about it. So reason, when we sometimes feel that we do not get the reward, we do not see the light, Imam still wants us to prepare ourselves to be ready for that light. We got to seek knowledge to learn how to be ready. We need to learn how to be humble. So let me tell you the story of a dervish here. I think it will make more sense. There was a very young gentleman, Dervish Sifat. His attribution was like Dervish. He gets Isme Azam, and this was sometime earlier, a decade ago probably. This gentleman gets the Isme Azam, and at that time, 100 years ago, people would know, oh, you went to Baitul Khayal, you got the Isme Azam, and everybody would not be able to get Isme Azam, right? So this Darwish comes back to his village, his Jamaat. Now Jamaat is all looking at him. Oh, look at him, he's the one. He got the Isme Azam. How lucky he is. How lucky he is. Everybody is looking at him with those eyes of, rush, that envy. He is so lucky. We didn't get it, he got it. And this dervish says, when I was looking at their eyes, their expressions, I felt happy. I felt, oh, I have something more than them. I am something, I am getting this. And he says that I sincerely sat in ibadat, but I did not see the light. And I realized what was happening. What I was doing to myself, I was feeling happy because I had something more than my friends around me. And I realized, oh my God, I've become proud about it. And I thought I was humble and I was sincere and I was doing good deeds by sitting in ibadat. He became so ashamed of himself. You know what he does? He says, I'm not going to live here anymore because I've done so much of sinning on my own soul. So he moves and he goes to Khardar Jamaat Khana. At that time in Khardar Jamaat Khana, there were, wooden stairs, and Jamaat would go to Baitul Khal Mandli, on the top floor. And this dervish, he will take his chadar and he will spread his chadar on the stairs. And he would come to, those stairs around 12 o'clock, midnight time, and he would sleep on those stairs. Now, how do you sleep on the stairs? Very uncomfortable. But he will spread his chadar and he'll sleep on the stairs. And then when time would be there at 3 o'clock, Jamaati members would start coming to do the ibadat. So they all would walk on his chadar and then they would go enter the mandli. Some Jamaati member, those who were older, they would come with a cane, thak, thak, thak. He's listening and he says that all that sound of their footsteps, that, thak, thak of that lathi, all I felt that I am on that ladder and they are doing it to me because I am so unworthy, because I became proud that I have Ismail Azam, that I am at the feet of these Mominin. Then he takes this chadar and he wraps around himself that I am nothing, I am nobody. Now I will sit in ibadat. This is the attitude to sit in ibadat. He would shed tears that Mawla, I did sin. I sin on my soul. I had something which others don't have it. And then I was sitting in ibadat, of course. How can there will be a light? Are we doing that? Are we feeling superior in some ways that we have something others don't? We look at others and we think good about ourselves. Where are we sinning? We want to be humble. Are we humble? This is something we need to think about so we can fix ourselves. And Imam is such, he does not remember that Ginan ka verse, right? Maro sami te che evo je koi no rakhe bhar ek var sami ne aliye sami ale so war. He is not going to keep any of our good deed with us. He is generous, Mola. He will return it back to us multiplied times. So we will have to remember this story and have to check our own pulse and see where are we making mistake. And then remember those who stay humble, those who stay in Giryazari, those who continue to think of themselves as being at Jamaat's feet, right? You keep it yourself so humble and stay Giryan, what will happen? There is such a beautiful verse in Quran which is known as Ayah Khilafat. Chapter Nur, this is the verse from Nur, chapter Nur, verse 55. And it says, Allah has promised to those among you who believe and work righteous deeds that He will of a surety grant them in the land inheritance as He granted it to those before them. तुम में से उन लोगों से जो ईमान लाए हैं और नेक अमाल किए हैं, अल्लाह ताला वादा फरमा चुका है. It's not that he's going to make the promise. No, he's already promised कि इन्हें जरूर जमीन में खलीफा बनाएगा, जैसे कि उन लोगों को खलीफा बनाया था जो उनसे पहले थे. Now the word khalifa is actually used for Adam. Adam, who was here on this planet 7,000 years ago. We do now know his name too, right? Dakhum bin Bajla. He was simple Mu'min. But because of his ibadat, Allah says that I make Adam my Khalifa. And this Quranic verse says that those who are believers, those who will continue to do good deeds, Allah has promised them. Do we not hear Hazimam's Farman? That I pray that you will see this light once in your lifetime. So when Imam gives dua shis, do we think there is any hindrance for that dua to become real for us? That dua has already happened. But if we have not realized it, it's because we are sinning. We are not able to see it. So this is the promise of Imam, that we will see the light. There is no doubt. Each one of us who is here, we will all see the light. It is the promise of Imam. It is the promise of Allah that He will make Khalifa those who will fulfill the condition. He will give the virasat. Virasat of what? Our Ruhani Mabab. Hazrat Imam is our Ruhani Mabab. All what he has in his treasure, it is ours. We are his children, his Ruhani children. He says, my beloved spiritual children. So whatever khazana he has, we are the waris. Have we proved to him that we are capable, worthy of taking care of that treasure? If we are, there is no doubt about it that we will be getting the virasat. So these were few questions which I had received, and thank you for sharing your question. Do continue to share your question, please, because it helps to bring this up in the session with different references so we all can benefit from your questions and learn. All right, so let's move to the next slide. Naveen Sahaba, we are okay, right? To continue?
Ji.
So this is the second verse. Sat shabad ka karo vichara, pisha kaho ji, varamavara. Reflect, meditate upon the true word and say, Pir Shah, name of the Lord, as often as possible, or repeat again and again the words Pir and Shah. So there are a few keywords which we need to focus on. We've been talking about Sat Shabad, the true word. We've been talking about it. We just discussed few questions related to that. The word vichara means reflect, means khayal, meditate upon something. Now, how does khayal is born? How do we start thinking things? So let's take worldly example. Sometimes when we are sitting in ibadat and we start thinking of our business. Oh, the employee did that, he came late, so I have to do this, I have to give the key to that. What are these? These are khayal, happening right in the ibadat time. Why? Because it happened yesterday at work that this situation was somehow created and you witnessed it and you thought about it that I need to fix this and I need to do that. You were thinking of solution. In other words, what I'm saying, some events happened in physical Zahiri life. There was input which entered to our mind and then those became thoughts. There has to be always some input for it to become our thoughts. When Imam is saying khayal karo, vichar, Pir is saying vichar, Imam has used the word khayal. If there is no input, where will the thought come from? If our all inputs are related to our worldly life, what happened in the house? Did I cook this? Did I go to the work? Did I get my car washed? Did I pay my bills? These are all worldly thoughts. And if all my inputs in the physical day of my life is worldly, there will be no khayal, there will be no vichar of Imam. It's not possible because there was no input. So the next question would be, how do we get the input? Now tell me, do you know the answer or not? There's a hadith which says, Prophet Muhammad says that I and Ali are parents of Ummah. I and Ali are parents of Ummah, meaning Ali and Pagambar are our mother and father. The rank of the Pagambar is of Natik. Natik is the one who brings the Tanzil, and we see Quran is a Tanzil. Maula Ali is the Asas Imam who does the Tawil. These are their functions. These two personalities which were there, and they are like parents to us according to the saying of Prophet Muhammad. Now, how does it apply to us today? Why are we talking about this? If someone says that this role is encompassed in Imam today, that Imam is that mother and father to us, Agreed? Definitely, because Noor is same. And today Imam is our mother and father, and that's how he gives us du'ashes too. How Imam is playing that role of taking care of his children by being mother and father. Now, we have already discussed the word ibadat. When we only think of Isme Azam and we say we are doing ibadat, the word ibadat is encompassing word. The word ibadat just does not mean to be waking up at 4 o'clock and doing ibadat. The word abd means gulam, khuda ka gulam. If we are gulam for 24 hours, not just 1 hour, right? So within our 24 hours, how did we do his gulami? What inputs did we let enter in our being about him? It is the miracle of the Isme Azam. Believe me, it is the miracle of Isme Azam, because when we took Isme Azam, probably it was based on blind faith. Because our parents told us that this is what we need to do and it was the right thing to do, so we got Isme Azam. Very few are those who truly know and then they go for ibadat, taking the Isme Azam. So we started to do bandagi. It is the majiza of doing the ibadat that our heart starts becoming curious, meaning there is an angel who is known as angel of curiosity. That angel comes into our being. Remember we said, where is the faida? This is the faida which we do not know, we do not see, because we are expecting something to happen. When we have expectations and our expectations are not met, we are disappointed. But today we are learning that there is an angel who enters in our being who is known as angel of curiosity. That angel gives us questions and we start seeking for knowledge. Is that not reward of our ibadat? Definitely it is due to our ibadat that we all are gathered here. So we start asking questions and we start desiring, wanting to learn more. And that's how, we start having this input of true knowledge and we start learning this knowledge. So that is about vichar. Now let's look at this farman of Usul-e-Din. Now this farman we have discussed in great detail. I think there is a series of 14-15 lectures. So those who have not listened to these lectures, they should listen to it to benefit from the understanding of this farman. So today we will not go very much in detail, but this paragraph, Imam is actually asking us questions and questions after questions. Imam says, have you ever thought, did you do vichar? Did you do khayal? Who is the creator? What is the creator? Have you ever thought about these matters? Then he says, if someone were to ask, who are you? What would be your answer? Someone might get to Adam too. Then Mola says, where did Adam come from? Now this Adam, who was 7,000 years ago, we have to, Imam is saying, dig, find out. Where did Adam come from? What was his characteristics? Why is he important in today's time? Then Mola says those who are Sufi will capture this thought, will continue to be reflecting on this. They will keep this thought in their heart and will work after to find the answers. If we want to know about Adam, who was 7,000 years ago, how are we going to find out? If I start thinking, can my mind go 7,000 years back? It's difficult. It's not possible. How do we learn? We learn by reading, by learning. And we do have books of Ardais and Buzrugwar-e-Din, which talks about Adam. How did I learn about the name of Takhum bin Bajla? Because it has been mentioned by Mansur al-Yamni, Sayyidina Mansur al-Yamni. Otherwise, how would I know, right? What I'm saying here that we need to seek knowledge to be able to know what was the even name of the Adam. Adam is the title. But Imam is asking us, Imam is telling us to think about these questions, meaning seek knowledge. When you have the input, then you will have the khayal too. In another format, Imam says that you have to do the khayal for 2 hours in every day. In 24 hours, dedicate 2 hours to just khayal. For that khayal to be born for 2 hours, how much input do we need? How much knowledge we do need to have to be able to truly just reflect and think? And when Mola says that Sufi are the ones who will keep this thought in their mind, so I hope we all remember who was the first Sufi. First Sufi was Mola Ali. And what did Mola Ali do? Teach us the Tawil. So those who are Sufi minded in Jamaat, they will continue to seek the knowledge of Tawil. Tawil is what? It's the mugs, it's the essence. When we have the essence and the mugs, then we will start reflecting more. We should stop here now. So if friends have any questions, do please come forward. Any comments, Naveen Saiba?
يلا مدد
Walai Madad.
نعمت صاحبہ استادی بزرگ میں اردو میں کچھ بولوں
جی جی
تو یہ جو سکسیسفل ہے بندگی میں صرف ایک کیمیکل کمبینیشن ہے جو باڈی کا جو اس کا وہ فل لیول پہ پہنچیں گا تو انلائٹن انشاءاللہ ہو جائیں گا. کسی کا ڈیتھ کے وقت سے ہوں گا, کسی کے میچورٹی کے وقت سے ہوں گا, کسی کا حقیقی سمجھ اوپن نہیں ہے. تو یہ چیزوں امپورٹنٹ ہے اور جو آپ کا گڈ ڈیڈس ہے. اور سب سے پہلے خواجہ عبداللہ انصاری بولتا ہے نا بندگی بجز از خدمت خالق نیست بتسبیح و سجادہ و دلق نیست. تو جیسا ہمارے مولا کو اب دیکھو یہ خود لائٹ ہے, خود انلائٹن ہے, اس کا انسٹیٹیوشن جیسا سب کو محبت پیار, یہ چیزوں جب سسٹم پہ بلٹ نہیں ہوتے سکسیسفل ہونا کافی ٹائم لگتا ہے. لیکن ایسا نہیں ہے آپ لوگ سب سکسیسفل ہے. میرے پاس یہ اسم نہیں ہے لیکن میں امید ہے خداوند سے کہ یہ سب سکسیسفل ہیں کیونکہ آپ لوگ سارا عارف ہے. آپ نے پہلے بتایا نا کہ وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِنْ طِينٍ فَإِذَا سَوَيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. تو یہاں پہ جو اگنورنٹ ہے, جو شیطان اگنورنٹ ہے, شیطان کوئی شخص نہیں ہے, کوئی بندہ جیسا کہ اس نے اگنور کیا. یہ دنیا کا اگنورنٹ ہے. یہ جو امام کا نہیں سمجھتا ہے, جو خدا نے اس کے خلیفہ بنائے بیچ دیا نہیں سمجھتے, تو وہ اگنورنٹ ہے. جو تو یہ چیزوں اور دوسرا یہ ایک چیز ہمارے بیچ میں بہت کمی ہے, تو میرے خیال یہ آپ ہمارے لیے بندگی کے لیے ہم کو سلو کر سکتے ہیں کہ وہ ہے لو ہے, محبت ہے. لو محبت ہم پہلے سب سے پہلے ایک دوسرے کو کرنا چاہیے. سب سے پہلے ہماری ہندو پڑوسی سے کرنا چاہیے, یہودی سے کرو, مسلمان سے کرو. بیچ میں سارے جو امام کا لائٹ ہے, روشنگی خدمت ہے, یہ سارا یہ کر کے اپنا فزیکل کمبینیشن جو چارے کیمیائی بدن ہے پورا کر کے, تو آپ سب کچھ ہے. آپ کے پاس کون سی چیز کی کمی ہے کہ آپ شکایت کرتے ہیں؟ شکریہ.
سبحان اللہ, آپ کی عاجزی پہ قربان. ناچیز جو ہے آپ کے قدموں کی خاک. بے شک یہ تمام ساتھی جو ہیں وہ مومن ہیں. ناچیز تو آپ کے قدموں کی خاک. تو الحمدللہ یہ آپ کا حسن زن بہت اچھا لگا, اور ہم تمام جو ہیں وہ سیکھ رہے ہیں, سمجھ رہے ہیں, اور رستے پہ آگے بڑھنے کی کوشش کر رہے ہیں. الحمدللہ. تھینک یو فار شیئرنگ یور تھاٹس.
یہاں پہ ایک ساتھی کا سوال ہے کہ ایز امام ہیو سیڈ علم والی روح درجہ بدرجہ اوپر چڑھتی ہے, اینڈ دین وی ٹاک اباؤٹ اسم اعظم پریکٹس. ہاؤ ڈو وی کو ریلیٹ ایچ؟ شوڈ وی ڈو both or can we start with one and get better at it?
Subhanallah, very beautiful question. Truly very beautiful question. So, you know, in reality, if we look at ourselves, the journey actually starts at blind faith. ہمارے ماں باپ نے ہم کو جماعت خانے جانا سکھا دیا, ذکر کرنا ہے, تسبیح نکالنی ہے, عبادت کرنی ہے, دسون دینا ہے. تو یہ تمام باتیں جو ہیں وہ بلائنڈ فیتھ کے لیول پہ شروع ہو جاتی ہے. And here I wanted to say one more thing. कि जब हम when we feel कि adult life में there is a doubt, right? Will we be able to keep commitment? So I wanted to convey one important practice. There are parents at a very young age, they start teaching their children to wake up in the morning and do ibadat. Like from role modeling, number one, and then expecting them to wake up even for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do ibadat. So those who are young parents here, young children, this is something which should be, started at young age. So what happens कि ये सारी practices starts at blind faith level, and that's beautiful in the beginning. But when we are adult, blind faith is not enough. When child is young, mother may chew the food and give the bite to the child. But when the child grows up, the child can pick up the spoon himself, take the bite and eat it, right? Similarly is our example that when we are young, everything happens in blind faith, no question asked, and we just follow. Monkey see, monkey do, and that's perfectly fine. But when we are adult, when we know, when we are able to ask questions for the worldly things, why is it this? Why do I do that? Why do I need to have this? Similarly, we have to use our intellect and logic in our tariqah too. So those who are wanting to take the Ismail I would say prepare yourself, ask questions, because without knowledge, as we saw in Quranic verse, chapter 17, verse 72, that those who are blind, meaning those who don't have the knowledge, they will be blind in hereafter, meaning they will not be able to see the fruits in their batin. And today, what do we seek? We seek Batni knowledge. We seek Batni Roshni. In order for us to have the Batni Roshni, we do need to have knowledge. So coming to the main question, should we do one or the both? I would say we have to do both. And especially those who are young and they start at young age doing the both, they will see benefit faster and quicker. But then people like me who started an older life, and that's okay too. It's never too late. Imam says it's never too late. Even if you're 100 years old, it's not late, because it is his mercy. Remember, if he wants to give, he'll give it to us without any effort. It is his authority. But when we ask about ourselves, it is our duty to learn the knowledge as well as do the ibadat. Because the way Khairuddin Sahib said, love is very important. Love actually is created in our heart through true knowledge. There is a love in heart too, but that is at blind faith level. A small test will come, that love will be shaken. But when we have love based on knowledge, that is very strong, because it is a certain love. It is, yaqeen ke saath hai, certainty ke saath hai. Then if we have both, the tarakki, the progress is very, very fast. So I hope this helps, Naveen Sahiba. Beautiful question.
जी यहाँ पे एक दूसरा सवाल है. Let me read the second line. If we decide not to take the Isme Azam because we feel that we will not be able to perform the ibadat as it is prescribed, and we don't take it, I think friend wants to ask, like, if they didn't take it because they felt they will not be able to fulfill the duty of going to Jamaat Khana and performing the ibadat, now what do they do?
Very good question. Very, very good question. Very important question. So if you were to ask me, I believe that you do have Isme Azam. I believe that you already have Isme Azam. How? Because of that Chicago Farman which I showed, in which Mawla clearly says, take upon tasbih, say Ya Allah, Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali. So any name you like, you start today, this morning, sitting in Bandagi. Take that as Isme Azam and start doing Bandagi, because you are doing Farman Bardari of Imam. And that is the time where our mind, body, our intellect, everything is so relaxed. That is the best time to connect with Imam. And if you take that Farman of Imam, take one name and sit in Bandagi, you are already preparing yourself for progression. When you truly get Isme Azam, whenever it happens, when you get Isme Azam, your speed will be the speed of like rocket, because you've already done the work. You are here seeking knowledge, asking questions. You are sitting in ibadat. Now there is nothing left, just Imam's duashis. And in his presence, when you sit with Mawla, when Mawla gives you duashis, gives his name, all are his name, all are powerful. But that one name which he gives it to us through his Mukh Mubarak, that becomes duashis for us. And then you are sitting on a rocket and flying up high. So Mubarakbad, you do have Isme Azam. There is no one in Jamaat, even young children. That's why I said everyone has Isme Azam. And that's how we need to teach our children to practice. Make them do bandagi from young age. So when they grow up, it is not a matter of decision and questioning and doubting and darkness. No, we do this. This is part of our practice. The way we teach our children, right? That I don't like to give personal example, but my mom used to do that with my own children. She would give them 1 rupee literally, and then tell them that 1/4 is for your chips. Going to Jamaat Khana, they need their snacks. 1/4 is for your mehmani, 1/4 is your dasom, and 1/4 is something else. I don't remember it now. So that's how they will, first get 1 rupee, change it, and then they're dividing it to do what they need to do. And that's how, children are taught these values. So they learn from very young age. It's not something they have to learn when they grow up. No, this is part of our life. This is what we do. When they grow up, then they'll ask, why am I doing that? Okay, let's learn the knowledge now. Practice becomes parcel of our life. That's how we need to teach our children. Blind faith is a very important part of learning in the beginning. Ji Namin Sahiba, thank you for asking beautiful question.
Yali Madad NIAMAT.
Ali Madad Ma.
I had a question for you. Since we practice Bangi every day, so some people might utter the words, some people might say it mindfully. Because it's a 1 hour, time. So naturally, throughout the day, sometimes you will utter the bol, right? Does that get counted towards the Bangi?
So it's the definition, right? The way you are thinking of bandagi. Bandagi is actually being his banda, being his slave, being his gulam. Everything what you do with intention of serving him is bandagi. But what you're asking here, that will I be able to connect with that word, with his name, while saying it, reciting it during the daytime? Imam has answered us in Farman in Baitul Khyal. It is difficult during the daytime because the world is live around us. It is very hard to concentrate, to connect in that way. That is why we have to wake up at 4 o'clock and do sit in bandagi. But does that mean it's not counted? Remember, every intention, you working with your senior people with intention of serving the Jamaat is also bandagi. But bandagi to bandagi, there are different levels. So yes, it is bandagi.
Okay, no, so I wasn't saying that we would be doing Bangi in the daytime, but because of we utter the word, sometimes naturally, you're saying it in the daytime too, but you're not practicing the Bangi in the daytime, just in the mind it comes. That's what I was wondering.
So automatically it comes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's a good sign. That's a good thing that your angels are reminding you to stay connected with that name of Mawla. And that's a beautiful thing to have that automatically you are reminded. Can you imagine? How does that happen? You
No.
are not remembering, you are being reminded. So it's a beautiful stage, right? When you recite it so much so, and you purify your heart and you do what is needed to do, good deeds, learn knowledge, a mercy of Imam, an angel becomes a sign to us who reminds us while the living of the worldly life. An angel comes and he tells us, remember your name, Yali, Yali, Yali. And we start doing Yali, Yali. We had forgotten it. So that's his mercy. That's a sign of progress. That's his sign of his rahmat.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it sounds really nice. Thank you.
Shukran.
Shukra.
Friends, if you have any questions or comments, you can come forward.
All right, नवीन साहब आप इजाजत लें.
जी.
All right, thank you friends for joining. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Thank you. Thank you, bye, Ma. Enjoyed it, Ma.
Yali Madad,
Yali Madad Maima. Thank you.
Yali Madad,
يعلم
Shukran,
ذلك
shukran.
Madad,
يعلم ذلك ما
Yali Madad,
thank you
Yali
شكرا
Madad Maima. Yali
شكرا
Madad.
Yali Madad.
شكرا